you guys, is anybody here like mildly in love or a little attracted to somebody near them? Who's hard? That's what I mean, who's hard? Yeah. Ladies, stop clapping, that's weird. Unless you're one of those in-between people like the fish do. Not the band, although I'm sure that happens at jam sessions. I'm sure people just spontaneously change sexes for the fuck of it. Dude, you a woman? Oh, no, let's do something. Pretty guy. So, I lived in Los Angeles for 5 god-awful years. I'm not going to call LA a bad place, but I will say that it is a place of enormous, unstoppable evil. It needs to go away. I lived there for 5 years. I'm going to tell you a story about the worst relationship I ever had and how it led to me being homeless. Which is where all great tales of romance end. Look at Romeo and Juliet. I remember when he was like, I just need a quarter. Get a job! I was in love! That wasn't my job. Shitty riff. I know. It happens. But I'm self-aware. A little too much, right? We're having a dialogue about how self-aware I am. Perhaps I'm masturbating a little too hard on you right now. Let's get on with the jerky jokes. So I was living out there, and I was having grudge sex with this girl for 6 months. Now, you can really only have grudge sex and call it grudge sex for about a month, and then it turns into a relationship. And it went from grudge sex to grudge love. And the problem is I didn't understand, I didn't see the transition. All of a sudden I was like, fuck, I'm in love with you. So I was doing that for about 6 months in LA, and then we made the big move to fuck up our lives and move in together. So I'm an actor, I'm a comedian. I was doing 1 day a week as a waiter to I made like $100 a week, and I moved in with her, and the rent was $150 a month because it was her and me in one room, 2 other couples in 2 different rooms, and then across the hall there was this guy named Matt, and Matt worked with her as a production assistant on the show The Nanny. If you don't remember the show The Nanny, I'll surmise it for you right now. That's the whole show. 7 seasons of that. And I'm not the scapegoat. So Matt, before I'd even moved in, my girlfriend was like, oh, the guy going to be living across the hall with me is, he's a musical theater student. And I was like, oh, great, I'm totally safe, he's not going to hit on you or whatever. And so Matt was also, it turns out, built like a brick shit house. Like, the strongest guy I've ever met. And he was a musical theater student. I went to drama school, I never got into musicals because the guys that do musicals are typically not built like brick shit houses, like fucking wrestlers, do you know what I mean? This guy was huge, he was like a G.I. Joe action figure, it was terrifying. It didn't match up. I never got into musical theater because there's always a scene in musical theater where, the guy this actor has to pretend to be this tough butch guy. But if you know musical theater actors, that doesn't make sense! Get your damn hands off her! I don't share with anyone! And then there's a scene where the 2 gangs have to rumble and they have to sing a song about the fight, and it's never as threatening as it should be. It's always it's gonna be fists up, fists up! It's a full-on, full-blown man fight! I don't want to be here again. I'm gonna join the Crips. More dangerous, but less creepy. So this guy was my worst nightmare. It was he was all the things I wanted. So I move in, a month into it, my girlfriend informed me that her friend from New Jersey is gonna be moving in with us. That's always a great way to maintain, intimacy, right? Is to have a third person in your room that is not going to have sex with you. So this girl moves in with us. She's there. She's there for maybe a month, and then one night, I wake up. It's 3 in the morning, and there's nobody in bed with me. So I'm like, where could Mama Bear be? So Papa Bear rolls out of bed, puts his bear claw on the door and opens it up and goes across the hall, and he sees Matt's door open just a little bit, and he sees the light of a TV flickering. So he wonders, oh, maybe Matt's awake. So he walks up to the door, and Papa Bear proceeds to hear the worst noise he's ever heard in his life. And this is that noise. So the TV's on, she's sucking his cock, and I'm shocked. I don't know what to do, my life is flashing before my eyes, I have no idea what I'm gonna do, and I'm outside of my own body, but I'm there for like so long, I start to get bored with the fact that they're not looking at me. I'm just standing there, they're not looking at me. So I look at the TV, and Law and Order is on. And so I watched about 5-10 minutes of sucking this guy's dick and fucking him. And that's all I see is like, I hear it in the background, but I'm like, oh God, I really hope they get this kid back. Horrible way to go. I mean, kidnapped by a diamond consigliere? That's weird. Which isn't a real thing. So, forget what the episode was about. I'm sorry. I was a little disturbed. So I shake myself like, come to me a man. I turn around, my girlfriend's now on top of him. Fucking on top. And I can't technically prove that in a court of law because her nightie was covering up the point of contact. I mean, they might have just been like rubbing against one another. I don't know. So I see her and I summon all of my strength and all of my manliness, and I said in a firm, strong, quavering, fearful voice, hey guys, what's going on? That's all I could summon! That's all I had! I've never seen her move so fast. She pole vaulted off of him like an Olympic expert, put a cover on him, dragged her nightie down, grabbed my hand, pulled me out of the room, and proceeds to say, I can't believe she said this, the most wonderfully cliche thing I've ever heard, which is, it's not what you think. People really do say that. Oh no, true, what I think. You guys were probably making wine and using your bodies as a human grape press. Sex! You love me! So she grabs me, takes me to the other room, she goes, alright, we're gonna talk about this in the morning. We go to sleep, our backs touching each other, we're not even spooning, it's like two emotionally aloof spoons. And we wake I wake up the next morning and nobody's there in the room again. I'm like, it's 9 a.m. She's fucking this guy, they belong together. So I walk out to the hallway, into the living room, and they're having a meeting about me. All like 58 roommates. And they proceed to tell me that I'm being, they literally told me, we're voting you off of the apartment. Not out of, off. Off of the apartment. Like it was an island. Like they'd just been stuck watching shows till. I was like, alright, fine, well I'll move out at the end of the week. No, we need you up now. Alright, well at the end of the day. No, now. I was like, oh my God. So I grabbed my stuff, it was so shameful. I had to go into my room, grab all of my things. There's no worse way to be like, you can't emasculate me more unless they like called me pretty and put makeup on me. It could have been worse. So I grabbed my stuff, and for the next 6 months, I lived in my car, on the beach, on the street. I ate trash. None of my friends would help me out. It was amazing. You find out who your friends are when you're homeless. And I went insane. Here's the funny part, though. I had already paid, I'm a second-degree black belt. I had already paid for the rest of that year's karate lessons and for the rest of that year's ice hockey games. So I was homeless, but every night I went to my martial art training and then hockey. And I go to pools to clean my public pools to clean off. Chlorine, by the way, is a great way to get rid of dandruff. Just so you know. Little tip if any of you want to look like I did. So one day I just got into my head, I'm walking around LA, just with those giant forks that the Ninja Turtles used to use? Like the sai, they're called sai. That was the weapon I worked with. So I'm walking around with my hockey stick in one hand, sais into my black belt, walking around like, where's my car? Where's my home? Where's my car? Where's my home? I was a crazy person. I was a fucking crazy person. They're like, oh, what happened to that guy? This fucking karate hockey guy. He's insane. get my mail one day, and it got into my head, I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go get I'm getting my Shakespeare book. I'm gonna get my Shakespeare book. And that's all I knew. I was insane. That's all I had in my head. I was gonna go get my Shakespeare book. So I show up, I go back to my apartment, I knock on the door. So you guys know what a knock is? You know, like, oh, it's looking at so I show up at the door, I knock on the door, and Matt opens the door. And he looks at me, and I've got my sai, and my black belt, and my hockey stick. I smell like 1,000 awful summers. I'm just standing there, he looks at me and goes, what? And I just go, I'm here for the classics. And that's when the police arrived. All right, guys, I gotta get out of here. I'm trying to